guys have been following recent news related to Elon Musk taking over Twitter and you want to learn how to analyze stock in Tableau, then this tutorial is the right one for you. If you decide to stick around, I will show you how to analyze Twitter stock using a 50-day moving average. This is a very common technique used by stock traders to identify buying or selling events. So first, I'm going to give you a quick overview of how we're going to be analyzing our data, and then we'll jump in and build this visualization from scratch. So let's take a closer look at our visualization. So here I'm showing the price of Twitter stock at close for the past 16 months, beginning in January of 2021 and ending in May of 2022. The blue line shows us the daily stock price over time. So you can clearly see that there's a fair amount of price volatility, meaning that the price is moving up and down. So to smooth out the price action and remove some of the noise from the day-to-day price fluctuations, we can use the moving average indicator, which is represented here as an orange line. Moving averages can help simplify stock trends and give us an idea of whether the overall price is moving up or down. So how is this helpful? Well, if we look at both lines, we can easily identify a number of crossover points where the stock price crosses over the 50-day moving average. So here we have a crossover point, here we have a crossover point, and there's a number of these crossover points inside our visualization. And depending on the direction in which the stock price is headed at the crossover, stock traders would either buy or sell stock. Basically, a buy signal is triggered when the share price crosses over the 50-day moving average in a positive direction. And a sell signal is triggered when the share price crosses over the 50-day moving average in a negative direction. So at this point, a buy signal is triggered because the share price is moving upwards at the crossover event and it continues to rise. And here we're looking at a sell signal because the share price is moving downwards at the crossover and it continues to decline. So if a stock trader was to follow the strategy where they buy and sell at these signals repeatedly over time, it's expected that profits will result. Now, let me show you how this works. So we're going to start with January 26th. This is our first crossover event with the 50-day moving average that happens at $49.67. So we bought 100 shares at that price, which comes out to $4,967. That's been purchased. Then there's a crossover event to the downside on March 24th. And this is a selling signal that happens at $62.06, which is the selling price of $6,206. Next, we have a crossover event on March 29th, which triggers us to buy. So you're buying at $62.94, and that only allows you to buy 98 full shares for that particular price. So that's what you're now holding in your account, and you have cash left over of $38. If you continue to buy and sell at each signal, your total cash amount will be $9,910, plus any leftover cash from not being able to buy fractions of shares, which comes out to $10,018. So your total profit will be $5,050 on initial capital of $4,967, and this is 101.7% profit or return. I'm not a professional stock trader by any means, but when I select a random stock like Twitter in this example and apply this simple technique, it shows that profits could have been made based on historical pricing data. All right, so moving on to the fun part, let's have a look at where to get this data and how to create our visualization. So the first thing we need to do is download our data set from Yahoo Finance. So here we can search for Twitter. I can also pull it up because it's showing up under recently viewed for me. We're going to select historical data, and then you're going to choose your time period and frequency. For my time period, I chose January 2021 to May 6, 2022. Make sure when you're downloading this data that you're setting your frequency to daily. Then you're going to go and hit apply and download your data set. Next, we're going to create a new workbook and connect to our data set. I'm going to jump over to Tableau. Since we have downloaded a CSV file, we're going to select text file in here. We're going to choose our data set and click open. So once Tableau loads our data, we're going to click on sheet 1, and now we're going to create our visualization. So we'll bring in our date and drop it onto columns. We're going to convert our date to a continuous date value. So here I'm going to select day, and next I'll bring in the daily close price. Next, I'll remove the grid lines from my view by clicking on Format, Workbook, and under Lines over here, we have the option to turn off our grid lines. And that will give us a nice clean background. So let's create our calculated field that will give us the 50-day moving average. So we'll click on the drop-down menu and select Create Calculated Field. We're going to call it 50-day moving average. So to calculate your 50-day moving average, we're going to use a window function, which will allow us to define a window around the data points that we want to include in our computation. So we're going to use window average. Next, we'll specify our expression, which is the sum of close price. And for our data points, we want to include our current point as well as 49 prior data points, which will give us the 50-day moving average. So here we're specifying previous 49 values as well as the current value. So Tableau will build this window around every single data point within our data set of values. And then we'll create a shared axis chart to show both measures on the same axis. So I'm going to grab my 50-day moving average, drop it into my visualization, and now I can see a combined axis chart that shows me the close price over time as well as the 50-day moving average. I'm going to change the colors, right? So I'm actually going to make my 50-day moving average as orange, and I want to show my close price as blue. We'll click OK. And if we wanted to adjust the width of our line, we can easily click on size here, and we can make them smaller or wider if you wanted to. Next, let's bring our volume and drop it right beside our measure values field on rows. We're going to convert our volume to a bar. So I'm going to click on the sum of volume here, change my mark type to a bar, and I'll change the color as well. So I'm going to set my volume to be green. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a dual axis chart to merge the two visualizations together. So first, I'm actually going to add a little border around each bar. So I'll click on Color, Border, and select white. And now I'm going to go hit dual axis chart for my sum of volume. I'll adjust my axis on the right hand side and set it to 1 billion. We're also going to adjust our value on the left hand side of our axis here. So edit axis, we're going to choose fixed, and we're going to set this to 110. So now we can easily annotate our crossover points. So our very first crossover point is right here, 26th of January. So I'm going to click on that point and select Annotate point. So this is going to be our buy signal, okay? So I'm going to leave the date, and I'm just going to write buy signal. I want to highlight this information to make it stand out. So we're going to make it green, and we're also going to increase the font to 15. So if you wanted to, you can go ahead and annotate all of your buy and sell signals. If I just quickly jump back to my visualization right here, you'll see that I missed some of the points. So I've only created labels for some of the major crossover points. What I think is interesting about this chart is this area right here. So we can see that the stock begins to rise before the public announcement, which means that this type of trading will actually provide you with information before the market knows. So obviously, professional stock traders don't use Tableau to analyze their stock. This was just a very simple example to show you guys where to get the data and how to build your visualization if you were to analyze stock using Tableau. I hope you guys had fun with this. Give this technique a try and see what it does for you. So thank you guys for watching. Please drop your feedback in the comments below and subscribe to our channel for more tutorials.